Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this special episode of Milk Minutes. We are in the office today celebrating Black Breastfeeding Week, and we're here with two special, wonderful women who have so much to share with us. They've carved out some time to just share their personal story because we know how important it is to breastfeed in the Black community and then also to hear the stories of women who have breastfed. So, jumping right in. Could you please introduce yourself? And it can go, it doesn't matter who. You just jump right in.
Hello, my name is Kirsten and Smith. I am a mom of four, 16, 10, 5, and 18 months. I'm a doula and birth advocate to teen moms, as well as my passion is art and STEM. So I'm an art and STEM instructor in the city of Pittsburgh.
Wonderful. What were those ages again?
16, 10, 5, and 18 months.
Whoa, those are some good gaps. Keeping you busy.
Every age group.
I was gonna say you got one at every stage. You are definitely a pro. And then you specialize in teen support and pregnancy.
Yeah.
And is this just doula? What else?
I do postpartum support. I do advocacy for CYF, teen moms that are going through the system, parental issues. I do parenting classes. Um, we do baby wearing classes, and they can be supported through our online training. So if there are any like more detailed trainings that they would like to do, I can offer them online training.
Excellent. I think you forgot one thing.
What?
Lactation, girl.
Lactation. A peer counselor. Because that's my full-time job. Sorry. I forgot about that for a second. But I am a peer counselor at the Wilkinsburg WIC office. I am there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So feel free to stop in and get some breastfeeding support or either just some support from a mom.
And then also, if I remember correctly, you're a part of PBBC, right?
I am.
Well, tell me.
I am so peer champion Pittsburgh Black Breastfeeding Circle. We actually have a meetup next week. We're going to get together for Black Breastfeeding Week. I will be there holding babies, hopefully, because I don't have a baby anymore, and supporting moms and enjoying some good food. So I am just there virtually most of the time, but I will be at the next meeting.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for a community, if you're a Black woman who's breastfeeding, want to connect, want to get some guidance, go to their website or no, or their Facebook page too. Connect on Facebook. I mean, it's a fantastic group where you can build sisterhood and again get the support when it comes to breastfeeding. Thank you. You're all the things. You're welcome.
I am Alexandria Cutler. I'm also a Lick. I mainly help with breastfeeding, but a lot of one they just want to talk because sometimes breastfeeding takes a toll on a lot of other things. It's something that is a roundabout thing. So if you're breastfeeding, that also interacts with other things like your daily life with cooking, with cleaning, and so sometimes they come to be about things like that too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so much of you that you have to give to your baby in that moment that it's hard to do other things. It's hard to show up and take care of the household or even have social support and connection. It's really it can be very challenging. So to have someone like you to talk to build connection and get guidance and reassurance, I mean, what a special place to be or a special person you are to give that opportunity to mom.
Yeah, I love it. I also have a 1-year-old. He's the one running around here, and I have two bonus babies, an 11 and a 16-year-old.
Oh wow, so that's a nice gap too.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping you busy. And here he is right now. You guys are matching. How cute. He's staying nice and busy. And I'm glad he's able to come too. So just jumping right in. I do have a few questions because, with breastfeeding, everyone who gets pregnant, they usually want to breastfeed. I don't know many moms who are in the space where it's like, no, I don't want to breastfeed at all. Yeah, sometimes we need a little education, sometimes we need some guidance. And I think it would be so helpful to hear from people who lived it and who are helping others in right now and just give them some free advice and guidance. So my first question, though, is because we just touched on how breastfeeding and being a mom is a lot of effort and a lot of time. What really motivated you to choose breastfeeding?
I guess my first motivation to choose breastfeeding with my 16-year-old was just that my family never did it before. So I am one to try things that are new and test things out. Me and my son, we were able to breastfeed for about 6 months. Had a lot of pushback from my mother, a lot of pushback from his father because it was new to everybody. Fast forward, I had breastfed two other babies until they were two because of the benefit of it. One of my babies was milk protein allergy, and that was our avenue. We breastfed together. We went through the journey together. So that was more so my reason behind it. Just like I knew the benefits, I knew that it would help her gut, it would make things a little bit smoother for her. And then everybody moved on since then.
Yeah. You know, you did touch on something that a lot of women can relate to is not having anyone else who has breastfed before in their family and being the first one to kind of take that lead in breastfeeding. And you did experience some pushback. How did you push through that pushback?
Um, I was a little bit sneaky. I used to still breastfeed my son behind closed doors. I wouldn't recommend that because I also was like, oh, I gotta sneak and breastfeed my baby. But I just spoke as once I had my other children, I just spoke about what my wishes were.
Right.
And continued to share the benefits of breastfeeding, even though my family completely adjusted as the baby as I had more children, but it was just like these are the benefits. This is why I'm doing it. Like you can be uncomfortable. This is why I'm doing it. So I just had a voice at that point.
Yeah, and I'm proud of you to say that you pushed through it because we do have, especially in our culture, the voices around us are very loud.
Mhm.
They're very powerful, and to say this is what I'm going to do when you have other women and men in your family who oppose that, it takes a lot of courage. So congratulations to you. And then you also mentioned the difference between each baby. So
So with my son just being the first time mom, it was just very new to everyone. Like I said, I didn't have much support, so we did the best we could. I'd say that we had a good latch because it was painful, but we pushed through. We figured it out. But as I grew, gained support from other people like Pittsburgh Black Breastfeeding Circle, I was able to be like, this is my voice. This is how I do things. This is how I position the baby, and kind of push through. With my second and third, or no, my third and fourth child, I was a pro, I would say at that point, but there were obstacles. Every pregnancy, every breastfeeding journey is going to have its obstacles. One of my kids had a tongue tie, so we had to figure that out. But I had a lot more support around me, so just having a good support system.
yeah, that makes a huge difference. We'll have to revisit the tongue tie and how you were able to still meet your goals.
Yes.
Well, Alex, could you share what motivated you?
I was actually number 7 of 7 breastfed babies.
Wonderful.
Yes, my mom breastfed all of her children, and she actually had a lot of trouble with that because she had no support, and everybody around her, gave her all these horrible, things, and
Absolutely.
so she kind of helped me with that. She told me, just push through and just keep trying because I also had issues at first. I was actually in a car accident
Oh wow.
when I was 8 months pregnant.
I'm so sorry. I mean, he's
he's great.
thriving.
Yes, he's
He's
doing
happy.
good.
Yes.
And it's so many things that could have went wrong
Absolutely.
made me want to make sure that I can give him the best that I could possibly give him. And for me, that was breastfeeding.
Absolutely. Wow. And being in a car accident, that had to be like very traumatic.
It was, yeah. I had to do therapy for a while.
Oh, wow.
there. I had to do physical therapy. I was in so much pain that, I wasn't able to work for a while.
Mhm.
And it was a very scary situation, especially because he was still in my belly and they couldn't exactly look to see if everything was okay. So once we got his heartbeat and I was in the hospital for a while, he was okay and everything went fine afterwards.
So glad that he was okay. And that is remarkable that your mother breastfed all seven with
Mm-hmm.
the very little support.
Yes, all seven. And she breastfed one of my siblings until he was 2.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
That's amazing. And out of curiosity, are there gaps in between all of you guys? If you have a
There's
break, or was
about
it like
4 years.
okay.
About 4 years, and then between me, because I'm the youngest, the next youngest closest to me is 36, and I am almost 30.
Okay, so she did have some time to kind of take a
Mm-hmm.
break in between, but that is remarkable. My next question is, what has surprised you the most about breastfeeding? Kirsten?
I would say for myself, being able to just take it day by day and just knowing how our body is able to create the milk. It could be like down one moment and then up the other moment. So just how amazing our body is able to produce and create the milk that's needed. As well as all the things that go into making the milk.
Yeah.
The bonding with the child, the hormones and all of that. So milk is amazing if you really look into the science behind it.
Yes, and our bodies are really designed
Yes,
to
create it.
exactly. That is so surprising. You're right. When I first learned about milk production and how our bodies respond to our baby's needs, I was like, "Oh my goodness, they need to be telling everyone about this. This is like a superpower that we have,
Mm-hmm.
and not a lot of women know." How about you?
Actually, it's roughly the same. When I started looking, because when I found out I was pregnant, I wanted to do more research into it. And I found out your body does change as per what the baby needs. The color changes, and the color changing actually took
Hmm.
me the most by surprise because it's just like, it's how? How can our bodies do this? Especially if it's something that we're not already doing for so long, like you're not just lactating all the time. So you're
Right.
just like, how is it that having a baby just triggers this? It's amazing to me.
It is. I mean, when we say that motherhood and birth is transformative, that is
Mhm.
the perfect example of our bodies, our chemistry, our minds, everything changes, and including our milk. Yeah, that's awesome. That is something that I'm still amazed every time I see just the different colors of milk, the different consistency of milk, and how it's all good. It's amazing for your baby, but how it's all different as well. Um, Now, we touched on your support systems, both your support systems. So, my question specifically is, how have your family and community responded to breastfeeding journey? I'm wondering with you if you could share a little bit more about PBBC and how that support looked.
So, like I mentioned, my third baby had a tongue tie, as well as we were during COVID. So there
Oh,
wasn't
wow.
a lot of like in-person support. So PBBC was one of those places that I was able to reach out to, ask some questions, and they ultimately was like, maybe you should look into this.
Hmm.
These are some tips. We tried all the positions, we tried all of the shields and this and that. And we eventually went to a ENT based off of some of the suggestions. So Pittsburgh Black Breastfeeding really helped make that connection because I would have never even thought about like a tongue tap.
Right.
So
The power of community.
yeah.
How about you, Alex?
So I actually moved to another neighborhood
Hmm.
and I didn't really have many of people from my community available to me. Like there wasn't as many people as I knew before. So what I did was I started looking into like different groups on like Facebook and I started like taking classes and that's how I found my encouragement through
Hmm.
things. I actually didn't like I didn't know much about the nipple shield until I gave birth to him. And it was just like we had, like I said, lots of complications, and it did take for me to get the nipple shield and then me to reach out to other people just to get some feedback because I thought it was just me. So, learning from all these other people, like, no, we all went through that. It's
Absolutely.
definitely, it was helpful.
That's amazing. Support is necessary, and it doesn't always have to come from a family member. I mean, the power of just connecting with other women who have shared experiences really takes that pressure off of feeling like is something wrong with me, and it also gives you an opportunity to connect and then be a help for someone else in the future too. It's kind of like just the gift that keeps on giving. But you both touched on nipple shield. So for our viewers, could you share what is a nipple shield? How did that work for you? Um,
So,
yeah, that's
I had a bunch of different types of nipple shields
okay.
because I thought maybe if I changed the type of shield, it would help. But a nipple shield is basically, it's like a little plastic cover with a few holes in it that goes over your nipples to help with pain or discomfort when you are like first breastfeeding, or if it's just a random time your nipples are sore, you use a nipple shield and it does help.
Absolutely. And then you use the nipple shield as well, Kirsten?
So how I would describe it would be that the nipple shield can be like an extension of a nipple. So the reason why we used it is because my daughter's tongue didn't come out of her mouth. It was more her pretty superficial. So it helped to extend my nipple, which is similar to like a bottle nipple, but not quite. But just to help to extend it a little bit more so that she was able to get a good latch. So sometimes it's used for latching purposes if the baby doesn't have the best shape or latching to mom's nipple or breast.
And it can be beneficial for both mom and baby, I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so so you're saying, Kirsten, with a tongue tie, your baby was still able to breastfeed.
Yes, she was still able to breastfeed actually until 28 months.
Oh, yes,
We didn't have to keep the nipple shield. I ended up getting her tongue clipped by an ENT, which is an ear, nose, and throat doctor, at Children's Hospital. And now her little tongue is able to like maneuver a little bit better. Sometimes they do a tongue tie clipping, just for overall eating and chewing, as the child gets older, but some people don't recommend it. So it just all depends on your ENT and what ENT you find and what level of tongue tie your child may have. And there's also a such thing as a lip tie. So even if you don't have a tongue tie, you can have a lip tie, which is similar to that, where your lips just don't um, spread as nicely. Like we're looking for duck lips kind of for the baby. So if they're not getting that good duck lip impression, sometimes we look for that.
Look at you. You got so much knowledge. Thank you so much. Now, our time is getting away from us. I know we could talk about this forever, but I have just maybe two or three more questions. Because we know milk supply is always a concern for moms. So was there ever a time that you doubted your milk supply? How did you work through that? And do you have any suggestions when you do have true supply concerns? Because sometimes it's perceived and not always true.
Um, I would say with my fourth child, as a mom, you got all the older kids, you got all the things that you need to do. My daughter gained a preference, and so she preferred not to latch. She preferred a bottle, which really threw my milk supply for a loop because it's like, where's this baby?
Right.
So that was probably my most challenging milk supply issue, was just like figuring out how many times I need to pump to equal the amount of milk that she actually needs versus she wasn't just latching like my two previous children. They latched and never took a bottle. So I went completely the opposite way with my fourth baby, and she only wanted a bottle. And mom did not like pumping.
Mm.
So I had 5 pumps because I was trying to find the best pump that would work for mom. And then at 8 months, we decided that she was done.
Yeah. It was a mutual
Because
decision.
I was not pumping anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
And she didn't want to latch anymore. So these are the consequences. Sometimes we have to just be okay with it.
Absolutely. We'll have to come back another time and talk about your pumping experience and 5 different pumps because that's another conversation for another day. Yeah. So, how about you? Have you ever had any supply concerns?
I have. There were many different times. So when I first had him, my supply actually didn't come in until like 3 days later. I had a really tough time with that. And then every now and again, when I get like really stressed out, I notice that, my supply will start to drop. Or even sometimes, I'm human, I get inconsistent with pumping
Right.
and I try to stay on a regular schedule, but I make mistakes and I fall off. And so, I pay for it, but it's never something that you can't come back from.
Thank you. That's important to really highlight that we are all human. Our life has demands, things change, but we can always recover, rebound, and get right back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so how did you get your milk to increase, your milk supply to increase?
I increased my pump sessions.
Okay, with pump sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And that was able to.
Yeah, I increased my pump sessions and I also increased the amount of time. Like I just basically let him latch whenever he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And that started to I started to see an increase. I did want to increase it, but I also didn't want to do too much either because I know that sometimes I've heard at least that an oversupply can be stressful.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You had an
I've
oversupply?
had one of the
Yeah.
Yeah, my second baby, we had milk at grandma's house. We had milk in the fridge. We had milk everywhere, but I fortunately didn't develop any like really complicated conditions, but I had rock hard breasts constantly
yeah.
because I just had an oversupply. Not sure if it was because she was my second baby or what, but she had acid reflux too because of the oversupply.
That was going to be my question.
It just really messed with her GI a lot in a lot of different ways for having too much milk. And I didn't pump with her, so I don't even know where the oversupply came from.
Right.
But I had an oversupply at that point. But to touch on how I recovered from my up and down milk journeys. So I've used power pumping, which is pumping over a certain amount of time in sessions, and giving your body a little bit of a break in between those as well. And then with my last baby, we used a device. I was trying to think of the device where the one piece goes into their mouth.
The SNS?
Yeah, the SNS. I was like, where? It went right out. Mm-hmm. So the SNS, and so we had to do that to try to increase how much she was taking in. So ultimately the SNS, you put a little bit of formula into the bottle and then the tube part kind of like goes on the side of your breast and into the baby's mouth. So we're kind of mimicking breastfeeding, but they're actually taking in a little bit of formula, a little bit of breast milk. And so we tried that with the lactation professional for a little while. I would say it increased things, but it also increased stress for me. So to each his own, but I would say it would be an effective way for a mom to increase their breastfeeding journey if they needed to.
Definitely. You have so much experience with so many different babies. You have just so much experience that, that really highlights that no matter what you're facing when it comes to breastfeeding, there may be some intervention or some support that will be able to help you reach your goals, that it doesn't have to come to an end because it's not working as planned initially.
Yep.
I'm glad that
there's a resource out there or a new tip.
Right.
So
right, a new tip for sure. One more question. What advice would you give another Black mother who is considering breastfeeding but feels unsure?
I would say just keep trying day by day. I constantly tell my teen moms to set small, reachable goals. So even in breastfeeding, if you're just like, I'm just going to breastfeed for this next 2 hours, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get to a week or 2 days, however, but just setting little small goals and not thinking that you have to reach